did. She said, "Oh, yeah." We had to, so much fun. I remember going to your house when you had just had Vicky and Vicky was right there on your own. And I tried to bed and I couldn't even. Nice little lake to this day. She gives you so. And another thing I remember was the loading tune. I took a drink out of, yeah, it would either be tea or lemonade or something, you know. It's just memories, you know. I said, no, they're human. Oh, yeah. But, yeah, that is house in the neighborhood. I met so many people who were there. We just had so much fun. Guys who were working around, boy, we got that popsicles and everything else. She was very good. They don't have the babysitters like your mom, that's for sure.
In less than 36 hours, I was up.
Awesome support.
Oh, yes.
I'm sure. What do you do, sweetie?
Did you have to do that? I couldn't even smell Lysol. I was spraying everything in the house with Lysol.
Yeah, I think I'm supposed to be over here. This is favorite.
My daughter and my son.
Not in the middle, there's so that
No, I'm serious. I haven't surgery.
She was just like that. She was just like that.
I think we're going in the right probably.
Absolutely.
Of course he will. Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's perfect.
You know,
Furrowed brow, it doesn't like wrist and knee and all that kind of stuff. We tried really hard because he's not a big thing. And I got on him. I was like, you listen. Anything those nurses tell you to do? He said yes. And he did. Buried on a southern plantation. Oh, yeah, you have to have facial hair. It was required. 16-year-old. And then he was having his beard came in gray, and I was like, no, that's good. It's good. Ours is nice. So I had to do it. He was like, she's later than we're out. Oh, Johnny! Everybody! Oh, I remember we've met many times. It's always at parties. It's always at parties. That's what I like. Means a lot. I mean, this was his buddy. I didn't honestly, they were work brothers because they would sit and chat with each other and then they'd go to lunch and everything would be fine. I'm scared. I'm here to tell you, I am very blessed and very confident. I couldn't be there. It's crazy. How do they do that? It's a lot. It's a lot of support. You guys. I saw those balloons and I was like, woo! This is a party.
I even went out of my comfort zone. How cool.
You know, it's like herding cows.
And the coaster ride. Everybody's
I know, and that's, see, that's the thing.
You know, we're just like a group. Always get together. We're not always agree on that. We all still love each other. We're always supporting each other.
I did. I have video of it. So, well, you know, and it was kind of my thing. Everybody's like, oh, that's lovely. And they said, that's
I got
my
my specialty pot and this tea and
It's amazing. It's just beautiful. So our customers figure out how to drive it and what she's doing. So I was like, all right, you're in charge. So, yeah, that'd be cool. And we're not sure. I mean, it's something like a people way, where you do that.
little water in it, set that up.
Yeah.
Whatever it's like, you're there.
Yes. I mean, we feel it. I mean, I every bit of it. Yes. That's her. I brought the Jeep and we got in and I was like, you know what? So.
Get together. All right.
I like it. I like it.
One there.
You know, I feel it all the time, Gary. Ladies, He's like, well, it's about time. I've been waiting for you, Charlie.
How was it in the morning?
Yes. Should have done it sooner. Thank you for coming. So much. And she really has. We don't have it. But huge.
This is my husband.
You guys, I love you so much. I love your support. I love that you've been part of this no matter what. Your stuff's in yeah, we can do that. I thank you for loaning them to us all the time. I think you get like towards a little bit because they're coming to fool around. And she turned right in the house and picked two things up, and I was all she's like, you didn't tell me anything. And she's like, you don't care. What is it? We're looking to make.
I've got my grocery list to where I've got the stuff that's not here. It's a process.
But when we lived in Dallas, really big yeah, what it is like, what are we gonna do in art or?
Somebody likes some really.
We'll get fine. Also,
That side, you want to go, it's she's
You know, it's, you know, you're not too hard, but you don't want to go to the doctor, you come back. She was like, she was gonna be subservient for a while. Before after 30 hours, this place is right, but we just, it's crazy. We're all sitting on the fence here. Like, it's a miracle. Yeah, it's fun. Yeah, it. All night long, I'm like, move, I just move my phone. Okay, okay. All right. Why are you looking? You know? I miss you too. I don't know what to say, baby. You know, people are afraid of me, and I do. Oh, get there and watch your brother. Yeah.
You can go back there and sit.
I'm so lucky. That's perfect. They're different. The twins. Yeah, no, absolutely, but it didn't, it didn't get her. You're stuck with me, you know, I'm just floating around the country. Yeah, I know, I see that. That's what I'm doing. Thanks for the-
Brian, do you want to sit up here? Where do you want to sit? Would you like to bring this to that one, or do you want to sit there? Give me a good one for Brandy too. Okay. She's in her. I wanted to see the surface. Oh, I got one.
Yeah, thank you.
We're here today for the unthankful. We're here to pay our final respects to two members of the same family who are both gone from this earth far too soon. We're here to remember, to reflect, to share love, to support one another in this time filled with grief, filled with deep and abiding loss. We're here because the Brooks family is important to us, because we know them, because we love them, because they have played an integral part in our lives, and because with these losses, we are saddened beyond words. Gathered within the circle of friends and family, let us give thanks to the one who creates life, who gives us all that we have, who sustains us in times when we don't know how we're going to walk the next step of our journey. We are encircled. We are encircled with a strengthening fellowship of friends and family. To praise God for the life of Blake, to praise God for the life of Mandy, to share our grief with one another, to reaffirm our faith that our lives mean something and we are here for a purpose, and that we change the world because we are in it. We're also here to turn Blake and Mandy back over into ever-loving care, knowing that their time here was temporary, but their place here will never be forgotten. Gathered in the name of the one who created the heavens and the earth, let us give thanks. For we have hope in all of life's uncertain circumstances. I'm going to read to you from Scripture, and it's in the book of chapter 14 in the book of John. And what it essentially is saying is that we belong. Each and every one of us, no matter how we think and feel and respond during times of loss and grief, we belong and we matter. And so these words say, do not let your hearts be troubled. Believe in God and believe also in me. In my Father's house there are many dwelling places. If that were not so, would I have told you that I go there and I prepare a place for you? And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and I will take you to myself, so that where I am you may be also. These are words offering strength and hope, counsel and support for those who sorrow, letting us know that there truly, on this side of the world and on the next, there is a place for each and every one of us. Even though sometimes it feels as if our loved ones go to that place too soon, and we are left burdened, feeling like there are so many things we wish we would have had time to do and say. But we can be confident in this in every time of our need, trusting the love, trusting that there is love around us, love within us, and love through us that will sustain us. Now we ask that in this place we find words of comfort, ways of hope, fellowship of all of those who share our sorrow, and that we are filled with the joy that comes from knowing that through these lives, our life was made better. In quietness and in peace, we reflect on these two, and how because of them, we are forever changed. This is hard. This is not something that we anticipate. It's not something we look forward to. But it is what we do for one another because we have been loved. And so we, in truth, share our love. I'm going to talk a little bit about Blake and share some words from his obituary. And then I'll let Cassie share some words from Mandy, and then we'll talk a little bit more. This is a time to say goodbye. This is a time to remember and reflect. So as our cards say, it says that Blake, the prankster, the jokester, the one who was always a big kid at heart, he would like to let you know that his work here is done. He received an offer that he just couldn't refuse for an appointment in which he will not be returning. The offer came with a large sign-on bonus, a reunion with his daughter, the qualifications of humbleness, kindness, love, paired together with the large, ever-growing experience of being a loving husband, father, papa, as well as a remarkably kind and gentle-hearted man. We'd like to thank Blake for his many years of service, growing life, and experience. We'd like for everyone to celebrate Blake's new everlasting position as a partner of God. We love you so much, and we know how well you will do on this new journey, dear one. I met with the family just a few days ago, and we talked. We've been talking often during these past few weeks of when we thought, now this can't possibly be the reality we are dealing with. This has to be some kind of a dream, and we have to be mistaken. And I really kept thinking at one point or another we would wake up and find that this was all something much different than what we were thinking. So Blake, he grew up in Muncie, was born in Springport. He spent most of his life being raised by a single mom, was a big brother to his sister Laura. Graduated as a Muncie Central Bearcat. He got a Letterman jacket. We don't really know why. It could have just been that he picked it up in a store somewhere. We're not really sure of any underlying athletic ability. But darn he has it. He met Kelly in 1986 at Ball State. He was the pizza delivery guy, and he came to meet her at Shively Hall. Kind of annoyed all of the women in Shively Hall. He may or may not have flirted with most of them, trying to see if his pizza delivery guy prowess would score any points, and maybe perhaps was a bit unsuccessful. And then he cornered Kelly one day in a booth while she was there supporting friends who were competing in a lip sync contest. He sort of trapped her in the booth all night long, and she was stuck talking to him. Didn't know if she really wanted to be talking to him, but man, he had command of the whole place. He could motion for the waitress to bring a drink, motion for the DJ to play just the right song, and he had this smooth way about him of just seeming confident and in control. Kelly had this loud wolf whistle that was apparently a great asset during lip sync contests, and so the two of them were quite a pair, living a good life. They were pranksters. They would sit on Kelly's bed in the Shively dorm just right outside the elevator, and they would shoot those coming off the elevator with super soakers. Maybe have them laced a little bit with soap. I don't know. I'm sure it was against some rule that Kelly was supposed to be following, and yet there they were. Kelly's family was a little bit surprised when she chose Blake as her person to share life with. He was an unknown. He wasn't someone that they had spent time with. They weren't sure about this guy, and yet here we are so many years later, and they are still together. They were in for the game. They were in for the fun. Kelly appreciated the fact that he gave her fresh flowers every day. You see, he had an in with the people that owned the flower bin, and he was able to score those fresh flowers and get ahead of all of those other guys who were trying to see if they could score a date with Kelly. He was a man who worked hard, tried hard. He had an attitude that he was always going to be the best. He was always going to win. He liked music. He liked country, classic rock, country western that he was brought up on. So that he likes Hank Sr. and Jr. both. Bad Company, Eagles, AC/DC. He had a rough exterior and a soft heart. Man, those girls of his, both his daughters and his granddaughters, they could just wrap him around their little finger and knew how to work him to get what they wanted. Now, I talked with the family a little bit about Blake and Kelly's wedding, and we're not quite sure the marriage is actually official, because during the entire ceremony, the officiant, instead of saying Blake, said Brooks over and over and over again. And so later on, the joke kind of is that Blake said, I didn't make any promises. The dude making the promises, apparently his name was Brooks. So I don't know what I've signed up for. This is a man who could figure out anything. Custom stereo installation, taking apart and putting together computers, figuring out how to wire a home so that it was efficient, welcoming, had all the latest technology. He liked to figure things out. He liked to have an analytical mind and to take it apart and put it back together. We'll talk later about how his daughter Mandy inherited so many of these traits of watching, observing, figuring things out. Now, Blake didn't have a military background of any shape or form, but man, his kids would say that when he was raising them, it felt like he was a drill sergeant at times. He knew where they were, what they were doing, well, most of the time. At least he tried to, except for those times when they were at football stadiums doing things they probably shouldn't have been. But man, he loved those children. He watched over them, guided and protected them. He made sure that all of his family, Brian and Cassie and Mandy and Kelly, and those beautiful granddaughters, they were all surrounded with love. Every moment he was around them. They knew and felt how much he cared and supported them. It was unwavering. Something they knew from the moment they got up until the moment they went to bed every day. that Blake was there. Blake is still here. Whenever we tell stories about, my goodness, this goofy guy who was able to appear on Bob Vila and he knew Yamagata, whoever that is, we argued on whether that was somebody from ZZ Top, but we decided that's a totally different person, not a ZZ Top frontman. He never knew a stranger. He could make friends with anyone. You felt welcome when you were in his presence, and my goodness, he's gonna leave such a big gap in this world. We're gonna listen for his footsteps, expecting him to be pulling some kind of joke out of the ordinary, making some kind of comment. We will talk more in just a moment about Mandy. We will talk more about the two of them and how together their lives have been throughout. Ever since Mandy was born, she and her dad were a team. But I'd like to give Cassie an opportunity to share Mandy's obituary and to share some thoughts. And we will continue to memorialize these two. Cassie.
I wrote my sister's obituary and I thought it was pretty good for her. I thought we captured what she was like. She loved video games, she loved art, she loved pranking. She was my dad's daughter. She was the mini him. But my sister's obituary is Amanda's life was like a video game, trying hard to beat each stage, all while she was still collecting coins. Her passion for adventure and games ultimately gave her the greatest advantage to level up and make her great escape from this mortal realm. She was compassionate and loving, so compassionate and loving that she decided to use her ultimate move on her father. This special skill allowed him to move into the next life, forever side by side, where they both get to start their next adventure. Amanda had a very kind soul, the type of soul that meshed well with everybody. Sorry. She enjoyed so many activities that were included, but were not limited to art, reading, writing, streaming, and gaming. She had so many people that loved her in life and that she loved them as well. Amanda will be remembered as a twin, a sister, a daughter, an aunt, a streamer, an artist, a writer, and an entertainer. But most importantly, she was a prankster. In life, we loved you dearly. In death, we love you still. In our hearts, you hold a place no one will ever fill. And for my wedding, she found the most perfect quote when she was describing our relationship. She said, "You and I were embers from the same fire. We are dust from the same star. We are echoes from the same love." It was amazing that she was able to put into words what I could not. She told me that she could never live life without me. And I'm finding it hard to do that with her. She meant the world to me, even though the majority of the time I lectured her about her health and taking care of herself. And almost to the point that I nagged her more than her mom. So I loved her. She made an amazing community. We stream video games and have met hundreds of thousands of people over this past year and a half. We have made friends that are lasting a lifetime. And a lot of them came up and drove up here to be with us during this time. And then there's some people that were not able to make it because she made friends across the seas from England and Egypt and all Australia, like Britain, like there's all types of people. She made love in Portugal. She dated a guy from there, and they came back and forth over the sea. She got to travel. My sister was very sweet and soft-spoken, if you knew her. She was used to being inside all the time because she had heart issues, and she liked to stay with my dad. So she got a little prankster side, and they would play pranks on me, my brother, and my mom. When we went outside, they would figure something else out to do to us when we came back in. She was awesome, but she was also online. We are going to show a video in the community room that you guys get to see her online persona, because it was not so sweet. It was not so nice. She was mischievous, and her laughter is infectious. I loved my sister. It is hard to lose your soulmate when you're bored with her. It hurts, and it's a different type of pain. I feel pain for my dad, but this is a sharper, almost like it will never go away. I believe that she's still here with me. I have to. She wouldn't have ever left me alone, and I hope that she will watch over me and my family, because it's the type of caring and loving person that she was. And I can't wait to see her again, but in the far future, because I have a family to take care of, but I hope they take care of us too.
I can't imagine. I can't imagine what this past few weeks have been like. And I think one of the things we need to consider is what the following few months will be like. I think often we rally and we remember to support one another during the time right after a loss. And I think the times to come, the holidays, the Halloweens, we have heard that Blake would buy anything inflatable and put it in his yard and celebrate all of the holidays. We've got to keep this community together, because these people here, they need us. And whether it's just a text message in the morning or a phone call later in the day, or whether it's just a gift to say, hey, I see you, that is immeasurably important as we continue. So I think I want to talk a little bit about Mandy. Cassie said more than I probably ever could. Just in fact that she was born fragile, had that heart condition, spent so much time with her dad indoors, and they were, from beginning to end, a team. Heard that they both were nerds. They could take computers apart from an early age. Blake taught all the kids how to name all the components of a computer, and none of the computers in the home ever had the backs on them. They were always in pieces, and yet Mandy learned from that and figured out how to put things together. As I alluded to earlier, the kids told me a story about how one time Cassie took Mandy out and may have given her heat stroke. They had snuck under the fence at a football stadium, and they discovered that the announcer's booth was kept unlocked. And somewhere in the midst, Mandy was getting overheated, and so they went into this announcer's booth to try to call home and get help. And Mandy might have kind of collapsed, and they tried getting help, but apparently adults can't slide under the fence just as well as the little kids can. So it took a little bit of effort to get the keys and the gate unlocked and get everybody figured out. I suppose that maybe Cassie wasn't allowed to go out with her sister after that. I'm not sure. But it's been said that maybe Mandy was a bit of a tattletale. She watched, observed, recorded, reminded you. She was the one to say, I've got this little bit of information. If you want to pay me now, I won't blackmail you with it later. She had a mind on a total different plane than many of her peers. In high school, she was asked to do an artwork with a theme of peace, and so many of her high school students surrounding her were making peace symbols, or maybe doves, or doing hand motions. Instead, Mandy went and she drew a picture of the Dalai Lama and had words from his speeches behind him, and just took that assignment to another level. That was how she was. From her gaming and her community she formed, she took things to another level. From her friendships, that she met people from far-flung areas and became close to them as if they had known one another a lifetime. She was private. She had this secret metalhead side that we didn't necessarily know about. She played songs that Cassie had given her and played them over and over again. She sang show tunes. She loved to write and to draw and to just express herself creatively. She called her mom Mama. The other kids, they might have outgrown that Southern tradition, but she had a habit of just kind of leaning into you and hanging on your shoulder and being there present, snuggling up with you, letting you know she was there. Whether she'd scratch your shoulder and your back if she felt like you were tense and needed a little bit of encouragement, she was always there and available to support those she loved. And I want you to remember this. Both Blake and Mandy, they are always a memory away. The more we tell their stories, the more we laugh until our sides hurt, the more we listen to their voices, the more their message lives on. Their life changed us. Their loss changes us. But through the tales we tell, and there are some we probably can't tell in public, their spirit remains with us forever. We give thanks for these rich memories, these many reasons of thanksgiving for the lives of Blake and Mandy, those whom so many love. And I pray that as they slip from this world into the next, they felt that cloud, that surrounding feeling of being loved, of having people who in their life could have done anything in the world for them. And that they knew they were never, ever alone. I guess at this moment I'd like to ask if Brian, Kelly, is there anyone in the family that had something else prepared? And like I said, all right, guys, if you would pause with me for a moment, please. Holy Creator, we ask that you be with us in this time of grief. We ask that you show us how to love in ever-expanding circles, rather than close ourselves in and let this pain overcome us. Let us shine out bright into this world. Let us continue by our word, by our deed, by our example, to love as we have been loved. To let this set aside any words of anger or frustration. Let this be a time that all petty disputes are no more. Because life, as we have realized, is so very short. Let us focus on the things that matter. Let us look to the left and look to the right, to those whom we care so much about. And from this place, let us release both Blake and Mandy, into the world that loves them and cares about them and has a place prepared for them. Let us trust that they will always and ever be in the air we breathe, the sound of the waves, the rustling of the wind, and let us feel their presence with us, both now and always. Amen.
This time you're welcome to continue sharing, and visiting with friends, and then at 2 o'clock, you're welcome to go to the community room for dessert and drinks.